Hey, hello, I'm Kråkan, also known as Corvus Cornix, so welcome to Yacc, yet another Crowcast where I pick a game, I play it for a week, and then I talk about it. This week's game is Joust for the Nintendo Entertainment System. It was released in 1988, and it's an arcade game. Originally developed by William Electronics for the Atari, but the Nintendo developers were HAL Laboratories, and it was published by Nintendo. And also, there'll be spoilers up ahead, just so you know, but first a little backstory. So Mondays for me equals podcasts, so I have a lot of feeds to catch up with and stuff like that. So I've been listening to NGP, which is short for New Game Plus, and they made an episode with the game Joust, and it was kind of interesting the way they explained it, so yeah, that's why I played it this week. So first things first, you don't joust in this game, you technically land on top of the enemies like Mario or Balloon Fight. So if you wait a bit on the startup screen, you will get a tutorial on how to play the game. So the A button flaps, the B button flaps infinitely, and the D-pad controls the ostrich. So you are on this ostrich, jousting, landing on top of enemies, which are alien vultures. So back in the day, arcade games didn't have to have an awesome backstory, but this is more of those funny games that I played, I guess. So once you land on an enemy, an egg will drop and you have to pick it up before it hatch. There's also an invincible, I should say, Aerodactyl that comes up when you take too much time doing things. So when you start up a new game, you spawn from a nest. And this game is a mixture between Balloon Fight and Super Mario Bros., the original one. So the stage has platforms, you have nests that you spawn from, and you start with 5 lives. And just like the game Kid Icarus, if you enter one side of the screen, you will come out the other. So this game is played in waves, so you start with wave 1, and then you beat that round, you pick up all the eggs, defeat all the enemies, and the next round will follow. There's also an extra stage that can happen, which is called the egg hunt. I'm not quite sure if it's called the egg hunt, but that's what you do on the level, so you collect the eggs before they hatch for bonus points. Also between the rounds or waves, you get a little breeding room so you can position yourself, so you have a couple of seconds of maneuverability until you get bombarded by other vultures. So these aliens, space vultures, or whatever you call them, they're 3 different kinds basically. You have the boulders, you have the hunters, and you have the shadow lords. So this game is best played slow, because if you go too fast, you will bump into walls and platforms and enemies and stuff, and it's not a fun time. And at the bottom of the screen there is a pit or a flow of lava that has a hand in it. So if you or the enemy gets close to it, you get grabbed by it, and if you don't struggle, you will get, dragged down. And finally, there is a way to play 2 players in this game. You press the select button on the startup menu, and then you can play as, 2 players. So you on an ostrich and you buddy on a stork. So I don't know why the developer chose birds, but it's kind of funny. It's really hard to talk about this game because this is all there is to it. You defeat enemies in waves, you collect the eggs, and that's it. There's really no end to the waves as far as I know. You just go until everything gets difficult and you die, I guess. So gameplay. Control the space ostrich, bounce around on enemies, and collect their eggs for a high score. Control the D-pad moves the ostrich around, the A button makes the ostrich wings flap, and the B button flaps infinitely, just hold it in, and the start button pauses. Graphics. So this game is really simple. You have a black background, you have brown platforms, and you have green enemies and red lava. Sound and music. Tim Murphy and John Koflerick made the sound design for this game. So this game only has music, I believe, in during the startup screen. Otherwise it's just sound effects. Easter eggs, secrets, and glitches. So this week I also watched CGR make a review of this game, and he was so... He was not into it. He actually made a review for the Atari previously, I believe a couple of other systems, so he wasn't really, talkative about the game. He basically called it like the bird ass game or something, because that's what you do. You jump on other birds and you collect eggs, and the whole review was just him, monotone, like, okay, I can't say anything about this game. And I thought that was super funny. In conclusion, I wrote, yes, play it. You feel like Balloon Fighter and the original Super Mario Bros. So this game is interesting. It actually inspired Jetpack and Balloon Fighter, and I didn't know that at the beginning of the week. It's an okay arcade game actually, but it doesn't have much to offer. It's basically simple. Not much happening, but there's an interesting thing, like, as I said, the whole theme is birds, and I don't know why. Maybe the developer, I think there was some interview with him when he said, like, he was tired of space game because Atari back in the day was only space shooter and space and aliens and stuff. So this game technically has alien vultures in it, but it's different. At least they're not shooting lasers, you're jousting or jumping on other birds, so I give him that point at least. So anyway, thanks for listening and or watching, and take care.